Wednesday's edition of Bookstore Brew. I am excited to be back. I am not excited to feature what is the number one most talked about thing right now, and that's the SEC versus the Big Ten conference ruling. So I'm not going to start with that. I started with that yesterday. This is a happy show. We're waking up. We're excited for week 0. We want football, but you got to talk about it. So I'm going to first start with a great question from a listener. Kara sent me this. Kara was the one that sent me the arrests yesterday. That sounds weird. Kara was the one that sent me the top 10 programs that with the number of arrests. I don't know. Guys, it's 5:53 in the morning. We're gonna roll with it. This is my first time talking today, and we're just gonna roll with it. Okay, Kara asked this. Great question, Kara. Great job listening SEC schools from most arrests. Enjoy the BB content. Also, now that we're getting close to start season, I have a serious question that I've been saving. Need Marissa's input here. I got her input. Marissa's my wife, for those of you who don't know. Suggestions. Superstitions? Gotta be able to read, Trent. What superstitions do we carry over from last season? I wore the same shirt for every game last season. Even as the collection grew with Peach Bowl, Rose Bowl, merch, etc., do I wear the same shirt as last season, or do we start fresh for Chapter 3? I think that is a fantastic question. Kara, that question's so good that I'm leading off the show with it, which means I think it's going to attract eyeballs because I think fans are going to want to know what is the instruction to do. And I think people are what's the instructions for this season? It's Chapter 3. It's a new season. But superstition, do I keep the same thing? I kept winning in whatever I was wearing. So do I keep wearing that? I'm going to ask Tim this question tonight as well because it's just that good. But what tradition should I do? So I asked Marissa. That's my wife. I'll start with my wife's answer. She wore a same jersey every day in every game, and that jersey began to stink. And my wife is a very clean person. So she was like, I'm not wearing this longer. I have to wash this. That's her attitude. And I think if that is your answer, that's what you got to do. You got to do you, because you could justify changing it up for the season. You could justify that by saying Sig says it's Chapter 3. It's a new year. Last season doesn't matter. That's my coach. Cignetti said that. So you could change it up. But I'm a sports fan in the fact that there's a lot of things. I don't know if I'll wear the same thing because I'm pretty sure I rotated. I got my shoes muddy at the Rose Bowl and I refused to wear them. But there's little superstitions that I do, and I still do to this day. Let me share superstitions that I'll hold over. So every time I email Tim the link to the podcast, I just email link, and then I put the link in. One time I went to put in like podcast link or text in the link, and I stopped myself because I was like, we have not lost since I've started doing this. And I still do it to this day. So that's one weird tradition that I keep through. The other one is our game day vibes. So Tim and his significant other, his conciliary, as he calls her, they make fun of me for my game day vibe video. The game day vibe video actually does pretty well in content. It's just like me. If you've seen it, it's on X, and now it's on all of our platforms. But I sit there, I look at it, and I say, okay, here's my vibe for the day. I almost didn't do it for the Big Ten championship game. And they were like texting me, and I'm like, I think they're making fun of me. And they're like, but if you don't do it, we're going to lose. And now that's in my head. And so now every game day, I have to do a game day vibe video. It might be the corniest thing you've ever seen, but I've got to do a game day vibe video. So I'm going to keep those traditions. Those traditions are going to hold over. But do I keep the apparel tradition? You said you wore the same shirt. I go with this. If Indiana loses, am I going to blame my wife for washing her jersey? Yes, I am. Indiana went 16-0 with her wearing that jersey. Yeah, I'm going to blame her if they lose a game because I look at this roster, I read your guys' comments, and I say, you know what? This team can go 16-0. They can win a national championship. So the only possible way that they lose is if we broke the football gods' hearts by washing the jersey. That's the only way. So yeah, I think you got to carry traditions over, because I don't know if you can look in the mirror. If I don't send Tim a podcast link that just says link and then the link itself, I might be the cause. So if Indiana does somehow get upset by a team or loses to Ohio State, you need to come on here into the comments and you need to tell me, Trent, or ask me, Trent, did you do a game day vibe video? Did you send the link with the link comment? Because if I didn't do one of those things that week, we're gonna lose. So, Kara, to answer your questions, yeah, you got to keep your traditions going until they lose. Then you can change it up. Like Marissa wore a Chiefs jersey and did the kind of the same thing. And then when she started losing, she started not wearing it, washing, whatever. So I think you can change it up. You got to do your part. Let me know down in the comments. I think this is a big comment one. Let me know down in the comments what traditions you're holding on to, and if you're going to hold on to it into the season, into a new chapter 3, you're going to carry it. You got to remember, Cignetti calls it chapter 3. It's all the same story. It's all the same threads through chapter 1 through chapter 2 through chapter 3. There's themes. It's not like he's writing 3 separate essays that have nothing to do with each other. There's constant threads throughout it. It's just a new chapter. But the theme of you doing your part, college football fan, Indiana fan, you doing your part is important. I hope, that's the one thing, my superstitious mind, if I see a grumpy old season ticket holder mad because they're being moved from their seats, I usually roll my eyes. But if they're mad because I sat there every time Sig has played a game here, and now that's where I believe the football gods bless us, because I sit in that seat in that certain angle and wearing that certain thing, and now you're moving me, and now we are more at risk at losing to North Texas at home because I move seats. That's the only argument I'll stand for. Only argument. We had a Spotify comment, by the way. Dr. White. Shout out Dr. White. Says he loves my comments. I'm not pulling it up here. He loves the content. Appreciate that. He says that I tend to trail off at the end. I should enunciate. Well, I will say, and then Dr. White, don't feel bad about this because it is true, but it's something that I do. I was born with a speech impediment. So like there is some level of I mumble my words a little bit. That is very true. But to Dr. White's credit, not trying to make him feel bad because of that, not that he would or not, but I need to enunciate more and not trail off, because I get really excited, Dr. White. I just talk like this, and then I look over here, and then it's a lot quieter because I'm looking over here because I get really excited. So I'm trying to talk in the mic more. I will try not to trail off. It is 6:01 in the morning now. I am trying my best not to trail off. But you all call me out in the chat. Call me out in the chat. Because if it's a mic placement thing, I can make sure I can move the mic around. I moved my content screen down so that I can see stuff instead of looking to my left, which I look to my left. I have to lean over like this to keep talking into the mic. Let me know if it's better today. Let me know if you notice. Dr. White, the one thing that I'm mad at you about, and listeners, this is for you all to know. I got to come up with a name for the Bookstore Brew Crew. Did we just nope. That acronym not going to work. That acronym not going to work. Okay. Anyways, got totally distracted there. The one thing I was going to say is that I had to listen back to yesterday's episode, and I didn't quite hear it totally, but I also have noise canceling headphones and can listen to everything. I'm not listening on my car or anything like that. I hate listening to myself. God bless you guys. God bless you guys who listen to this show. It's so rough to listen to yourself talk. You sound completely different. Okay. So let's get a clip in. This was sent to me. because I don't listen to this show. This was sent to me by our favorite quasi producer Russell, who sends me clips. I haven't watched this. I did forward it just to make sure what I thought was going to happen happened.
I don't know.
And so I'm going to pause it here and speed it up because no one wants to listen to Kirk Herbstreit and Joey Galloway for that long. These guys are probably public. They're not public enemy number one, right? Like, I think tonight on the Kirkwood Dunn full episode with Tim, I'm going to lead off the show with asking, who's Indiana's biggest villain going into the season? I put together a Trent's hate watch list for this show that I'm going to reveal here in a little bit. Top 10 hate watch. I'm going to keep going throughout the season. It's going to be like a power ranking. But I'm curious of who Tim thinks Indiana's biggest villain is. And I think at least one or two of these guys is Joey Galloway. If you're watching on video on YouTube or Spotify, is Joey Galloway got like a Jesus sash, but it's like red and not blue, like my Bible stories always told me? What is that? All right, we're gonna play.
I don't know if you thought about this yet. Who are your Final Four and in your championship game?
Give me Notre Dame, give me Ohio State, Miami, and give me Indiana. And I don't even know how that's going to work out.
So Joey Galloway's putting Indiana in. Joey Galloway, no non-believer during the college football shows.
But I'll take those.
All right, so you got Ohio State,
Yep.
Indiana out of the Big Ten,
Can I
Notre Dame, and
change?
Miami.
Let me change. Let me get Georgia in there.
No one out of the SEC.
I just
Ugh. That's the least surprising thing ever, but still.
I just changed my mind. Let me get Georgia. Take Indiana out. Let me get Georgia.
All right, so Ohio State, Georgia, who wins?
Ohio State. And then give me Notre Dame.
So you got Notre Dame and Ohio State in a rematch
Yes.
from a couple years ago.
Absolutely right.
Who's winning?
Notre Dame. I'm going
Okay.
their
You
attitude.
bastard.
Their attitude. I'm telling you.
All right, ready?
I don't remember the last time Ohio State. We have Ohio State listeners. When's the last time that Ohio State lost to Notre Dame? I think it was a long time. I think that was a big storyline in the national championship game.
For mine, I'm going Ohio State against Indiana.
Okay.
And I got Notre.
Vomit. I think I said this last episode. People were mad that Tim was saying like we could lose to Ohio State. It's like have positive energy, like blah blah blah. You're killing the team. Also, my pessimism is another tradition that I'm going to hold into Chapter 3. I don't want to play because if IU and Notre Dame or Ohio State are playing that game, you could argue that's the third time we're playing.
Notre Dame against Georgia in the other semi. Indiana beating Ohio State to go to the final. And I got.
Look at Kirk. New leaf, everyone. Even though he went on Pat McAfee's show and he didn't say Indiana was a threat to win the title. So winning the national chair, I'm guessing Indiana is not going to be his national championship pick.
Notre Dame beating Georgia to go to the final. Can you imagine the state of Indiana if that happened? Indiana against Notre Dame.
Indiana Notre Dame national championship game is apocalypse. We thought the flooding was bad. Apocalypse in our state. Luckily for us, though, a ton of Notre Dame fans don't live in state or have really any association with Notre Dame.
In the national championship. And like you, I got CJ Carr and Notre Dame winning the national title over Indiana.
Sorry, Marcus Freeman. We apologize. You got no shot. They're out. They got no shot now. Notre Dame, it was fun while it lasted.
I know. I feel bad. We get a text.
Yeah.
I'm going to shoot a group text to be you and Marcus.
Tell him we apologize.
Did Kirk Herbstreit just name drop?
It's over.
All right, that's nonstop with Kirk and Joey. I think as more and more of these come out, I think it's Notre Dame will be a hot pick for sure. A lot of pressure on Notre Dame this year. A lot of pressure on Notre Dame. Indiana does not have the pressure. I don't care. Like, do I personally feel pressure? Do I personally feel like as much as, I walk around as confidently as I walk around on the internet and that we will be sought out if we lose? Yeah, of course. But that's the burden I bear. But Notre Dame might as well pack it up if they don't win. You have your best team in the not in the history of Notre Dame, I'm sure, like relative to their talent level. But Marcus Freeman era, you have your best team. And your best team, probably the Brian Kelly era, too. And, of course, then that means Charlie Weiss. It might be their best team ever. Best quarterback? Joe Montana. They're going to come in very angry about that one, probably. But he's good. CJ Carr is good. Michigan's idiots for letting CJ Carr go. This came out 2 days ago, but I want to talk about it. Indiana football coach Kirk Cignetti on backup quarterback battle.
I would say Grant definitely has the edge for number 2. He's an experienced guy and has had a good camp, and Tyler's improved too.
All right, Dr. White, let's tell Sig to also enunciate because I can't hear him. That's a clip from the press conference. Basically, he is saying he was asked about this. Quarterback 2. I think it's an interesting battle. Who's the quarterback 2? He says Grant Wilson still has the lead. Tyler's been making progress. He even mentions, shout out Jacob Bell Hive, as someone who is also in the mix. I don't think that's good news. I don't think it's bad news. I don't think it's detrimental. I don't think if Tyler Cherry ever gets back to full health and full development from after his injury, I don't think it's going to affect Indiana long term. Why would I be ever concerned about the quarterback position at Indiana University while Kirk Cignetti is here? Why? So I'm not there, but I just find it interesting. I wish Tyler Cherry was taking hold. This is a wish, not a need. This is a want. I want Tyler Cherry to take hold. I think it's important for us to see that this season. Okay, let's jump to... Oh, we talk a lot about USC on the road. Look at this stat by Tom Fornelli. Sorry, audio listeners. This is a bad one. See if I can make it bigger. So Tom Fornelli is putting performances on the road in Power 4 conference plays to the last 2 seasons. Top right are people who are offensive to the team that is hosting them, that they just beat mercilessly. Texas Tech, unsurprising. Shout out Vanderbilt. They're on the far right box. This is against the spread also, which is important to say as the x-axis on the bottom. I don't see Indiana. Why am I not seeing? Oh, there's Indiana. We're with Ohio State. We're dry humping Ohio State in the top right quadrant. Audio listeners might not understand that, but basically they're just smack dab against each other. Good placement, of course. It's Cignetti. Bottom right, they're tough outs. Mississippi State. Let's put a pin in that as they go play Minnesota this year. But then on the left, Purdue's always on the bottom left. And KU. I love my rival schools down here. Let's just ignore Kansas State's also on the bottom left. But over here, USC, Washington, also Texas on the top left, winning ugly. Bottom left, homesick, USC, Washington, 2 of the worst teams on the road. USC comes to play Indiana this year. Lincoln Riley on the road. That's who I picked as my major upset in the Big Ten was Wisconsin beating them. Washington, also terrible on the road. And that's why I am not scared of Washington in the last home game of the season. Because I think they're going to lose something. I think they're going to lose poorly. Shout out to Oregon. Feeling good about the way that they operate on the road if you're Dan Lanning. Can't figure it out over here. Where's UCLA? I'm just thinking of Big Ten West, big West Coast Big Ten teams. I'm guessing UCLA is probably in this jumbled mix in the middle. Huh. That's why we talk about East Coast Lincoln Riley. And then he also just complains about time zone, which is also funny. As I enunciate. All right, top 100 personalities. This was making the rounds on Twitter because media people love to retweet themselves. Look, McGee made it. I'm at 79. Sure, that's not my first name. He misspelled my first name, but I am at number 79. Okay, top 100 college personalities. Tom Fornelli ranks in number 1. This is done by PMT Stats. It's a guy that's obviously a fan of Pardon My Take. Tom Fornelli is called the number 1 college personality on Pardon My Take because he does a challenge with Brandon Walker. So my guess is that he is why he's coming in at number 1. Even though I love Tom, but if you're mad about that, that's probably why. Josh Pate at number 2, Nicole Auerbach, shout out. At number 3, Sheehan Jariah. Hope I pronounced that right. At number 4, Cole Kublik. At number 5, Connor Griffin, who's a Barstool personality, even though Bud Elliott has no idea who that is. Brandon Walker, number 7, Joel Klatt at 8. Blah. Big Cat is behind Heather Dinich. This whole thing should be thrown out. Heather Dinich, top 10. Boo. Gross. I think he also did it by school colors. We're just gonna say that's not even Alabama. That's Alabama. Alabama red, where they went to school. That's disgusting. Bill Conley, did he go to Iowa? No, he went to Missouri. The other ones on here. We did it. We did a college football bracket. Didn't get 2.6 million views. I'll just tell you that. It did not do that well. It's all right. Maybe next year. There's Joey Galloway. Kelly in Vegas, K-State. Shout out. Okay, so those are the personality rankings. Let me know if you agree with any of them, who they missed. All right, it's time to reveal the things you've been waiting for. The thing you didn't even know you wanted, but now you are going to want. And I thought to myself, it is a morning podcast. The morning podcast, I'm trying to start off your day correctly, right? I'm trying to give you the positive energy to get through the day. I'm trying to end every episode by telling you good morning. I want people who will listen to this in the evening and hear my good morning go, wow, if I would have listened to that, I would have started the day off better than I did. That's what I want. And then I thought, what about if I just rank my hate watch? Every team I hate or player or person that I hate watching throughout a season. And then I was like, does that mess with the positive energy? And then I thought to myself, guess what? It is almost college football season. I got to put this out here because I think one of the best things about college football is hate watching. I'm adding a team, by the way. I was like, wait, I forgot about this. Is hate watching. Because I want to watch games. I want to watch my favorite team dominate. And then I also want to turn on the TV and I want to laugh when other teams lose. And so I'm ranking these. And this is a power ranking. I'm going to update this throughout the season, maybe every week. I have 3 of these episodes. I can steal some content here. And I put this together. What did I say I started this podcast at? 5:35. I put this together at 5:25. And that's why I'm adding teams as I go. That's why we're going to keep this going. But this is my first start, and I'm going to explain this as I go through. At number 10, I had to put them on the list. I am an Indiana football content creator, so I have to put them on the list. But at number 10 is Purdue and Barry Odom. When they are getting thumped by other teams, it's hilarious. If they lose to Indiana State, they're going to move up the hate watch power rankings. That's going to be fun. If they start winning, I might drop them off until they get expectations and then put them back on there. But I love watching. When Barry Odom and his dumb face looked up at the scoreboard in West Lafayette last year when Cignetti's beating him like a drum, fantastic. Okay, so now you're getting the vibe of what the hate watch list is. Fun to watch. Number 9, we had a Miami fan start listening to the podcast. And it's a good time they're listening to the podcast now and not last year, because Mario Cristobal losing is one of my favorite things to watch because he does it in incredible game decision fashion that is fantastic. Like when they lost to Louisville last year and Carson Beck threw 4 interceptions. Like he just kept dropping Carson Beck back against a team that Miami should have been running down the throat of. That's funny. And it's there. So Mario Cristobal is still going to make the list because if it happens again, it's going to be funny. It would be almost maybe number 1 last year, but it's dropped to number 9 because I have a lot of respect for what they did as a program and that things are coming together and that he's kept his coordinators as well. So Mario Cristobal, caveat, only against unranked opponents. If he's playing Notre Dame, I want Miami to win. If he's playing, there's not a lot of ranked teams in the ACC, so I'm gonna get a lot of chances at this. But if he's playing Louisville and Louisville's ranked, and it's a top 15, top 20 matchup, I'm not like, it would be funny, but it's not. It'd only be funny because like top teams this year losing, with Indiana, it being up there too is going to be interesting. But Mario Cristobal, if he's like losing on Thursday night to Pitt or Virginia Tech, that will be funny. Hate watch. I will hate watch that. Number 8, Ole Miss and Pete Golding. Ole Miss fans represent more of the SEC than you think they do. Like fraternity, bro, Brad and Chad, Southern tradition, polo, hot girlfriend, ugly guy. I love watching Ole Miss lose. It was more fun with Lane Kiffin, but Pete Golding is like quasi like, ugh. So Ole Miss is there, but I think Ole Miss is probably the biggest threat to drop off here. Once they actually return who they are, I won't care. When they go back to being 6-6, 7-5 every season, or 4-8, will not care about them. All right, number 7. This is oddly specific, and this is really mean because one of my best friends in my life is a Nebraska fan. But it's Nebraska. But it's another caveat one. Nebraska not gained to 6 games. When they're playing Iowa at 5-6 in the last game of the season, it's so funny to watch Nebraska not get to 6 games. Hilarious. It's one of my favorite. It could be one of my favorite pastimes. It could be. It would be high on the ranking. So that's a power ranking potential to move up. If Nebraska loses some games, is trying to get to 6 wins, that sucker's moving up in the power rankings. Number 6, LSU losing because of their just corruption. The amount of money, they are the scumbag you of college football. Oh my gosh, I just realized I haven't even talked about the SEC Big Ten drama. What a terrible podcast. You're here for this stuff. You're probably like, Trent, why don't you talk about that? I'll try to end with that. It's not interesting. It's not fun. Ugh. Why do I do this? So, but anyways, LSU, I hope they get all the NFL players back, and then they still lose. Number 5, Notre Dame losing. I know this will be higher on most people's rankings, but the problem about Notre Dame is I like Marcus Freeman. I do. I have to like really not like a coach to be really high up the ranking, and I don't mind him. He's very nice about Cignetti and what they've done. It's their fans. So like their fans are holding them on this power ranking. Number 4, Dabo Swinney. It used to be 1 or 2. He's the most self-righteous dude. And when they get on that stupid bus to ride to the other side of Clemson Stadium, like it's literally a block, to run down the hill, I've never felt more hatred towards a man in that moment. Number 3, we just talked about this. Lincoln Riley east of the Mississippi. I don't care if USC wins or loses at home. When they go east of the Mississippi, it's hilarious when they lose. When they lose to Illinois and he complains about travel. God, great. Number 2, this one was probably not even on my top 10 until last year, until the Damon Williams things, until he opened his stupid mouth this offseason. Jedfish. I'm going to hate watch Washington. And that's sad because Washington was like my favorite West Coast team back in the day with Chris Peterson. Jedfish is slimy, and I hope he loses every game. Damon Williams transfers to Indiana. Number 1, it's got to be here. It's got the perfect mix of annoying fans if you meet them, money, football culture that isn't probably deserved, and absolute. Just go watch the video of him yelling at the producer for touching him. It's the number 1 thing. You treat people like that, I think you're the Brian Kelly level. And guess what? No one's really coming to defend the guy. And he's holding on to offensive play call duties. And there's Arch Manning there and the overhype of him. Texas. Number 1 hate watch will be Texas. I want them to beat Ohio State. That's the only game I want them to win this season. And then they can go 1-11. But I'll tell you right now, if Steve Sarkisian does get fired, like I've been predicting on multiple shows, your boy is going to be in the best of moods. The best of moods. Never root for another man's job to lose his job. I don't go by that principle when it comes to Steve Sarkisian. I don't understand the hype. Tim loves him, by the way. All right, honorable mentions. They're not making a list this year because I think that but it's so funny when Auburn's a dumpster fire because of their inferiority complex to Alabama. I didn't put Alabama even on the honorable mention list. I've never been a big, I need to see Alabama lose. Didn't put Georgia on here either. Florida used to be on here. Not even honorable mention this year. TCU, Sonny Dykes. I think he's one of the most overrated coaches in the country. He caught lightning in a bottle one year. He's what other opposing fans think Cignetti is, which they're wrong. TCU's on there. Bill Belichick, honorable mention. Probably the last year I can put him on here. Ooh, Colorado. I didn't put Colorado on here. Watching Deion Sanders, whatever's happening there. Just because Deion I almost said shoots himself in the foot, but that's probably insensitive right now since he doesn't have toes. Can't say stick your foot in the mouth. Own goal. Scores own goals. There we go. That's appropriate. Florida State. They're so sad right now. I'm not putting on the hate watch, but their fans are low-key obnoxious. Low-key. So I have them on the list. All right, let's wrap this up. Looking at your comments, remember to comment your favorite traditions, or if you're keeping the traditions going in to Chapter 3 season. Do you agree with my take that you got to do it? Comments from last episode. We read Kara's. Matt talking about profanity. Yes, Matt, like I said, I'll try not to on this one. You can listen to this, the Bookstore Brew at Church. Lawyers, admin, and politicians, the dregs of the earth. Joe, I'm going to run for Congress in your district. I'm just telling you right now. Declare for the draft, signed a contract, and played you in the pros, bro. You can't go back to college. Sounds like denying being 6 months pregnant. Joe, you crack me up. There's unresolved issues with Sig and Saban and maybe with Tim and Trent. We did actually, we'll talk about it on the pod tonight. It's going to be a must listen. We got to follow up our best show with another great show. But thank you, Catherine, for this is a nice, chill morning listen. Thank you. I tried to be more energetic this morning. Hopefully I didn't ruin the vibe for Catherine. Tim and I did get into an argument over our position group. I FaceTimed him and was trying to explain because text was not working. And we were getting heated again. And I'm like, man, we should have kept this for the show because Tim did not understand what I was trying to say. And I obviously was not explaining it well enough. And then he didn't also like what we were doing. So, yeah. So it should be a fun show. We'll come in heated. Again, let me know in the comments. I'm thinking about moving Wednesday night's recording to Thursday morning release. And that might happen again today because we have to record later because Tim is teaching a class. on Wednesday nights now. But I want to get Thursday morning content out. But that's a big change. Big change for the algorithm. All right. Last thing, let's talk about this conference stuff. So for catch you all up, the Big Ten released a statement saying that they are putting out eligibility rules around the NFL. It doesn't appear that it affects Kellen Wyatt or Stephen Daly because they never signed an NFL contract nor never entered the draft. At least for Kellen Wyatt might have entered the draft. Stephen Daly did not. They still need a restraining order. They still need to go to court, wait for an injunction to happen for them to be able to be eligible. So that still's got to happen. I expect that to happen. I'm surprised that still has not been reported on that's happened. But the Big Ten has come out and stipulated that. The SEC, who we read yesterday, had a non-statement, came out with following Big Brother and decided to put out their own set of rules around it. The interesting thing is LSU's lawyer who's representing the players have said that they are going to potentially sue LSU in Louisiana State Court for being in contempt of court. And as of today, I read that most likely the SEC is going to sue in federal court over it. It's very much becoming like the Brendan Sorsby thing. I mentioned that yesterday, that Brendan Sorsby and his lawyers had to fight the Big 12 conference, and they eventually backed away. I think it's going to be a similar thing. I don't know. The Big 12 was ready to sue Texas Tech. I'm curious as if that will happen with LSU. And I'm going to point out, Pete Thamel reported that when the SEC voted to put these rules in, which I think is suspending a coach half a season, financial fine, they voted for it. It was 16-0 was the vote. So it's interesting because remember, when conference changed the rules at the late second, a lot of times the team that's affected, i.e. Scott Dolson, when they allowed Ohio State in 2020 to play in the Big Ten championship game, changing their own rules, it was 11-1 or 14-1 or 15-1, whatever number we were at the time, so long ago. All right, this has been another edition of Bookstore Brew. You can follow Bookstore Brew on social media. We haven't really activated that social media accounts, but we've been putting out these clips on social media. At every platform is at Bookstore Brew, except for Instagram, which is bookstore.brew. But Kirkwood and Dunn's obviously our main account. You can follow that there. You can follow me at ST McGee. Like and subscribe. It's going great. You guys are great. We're going up to football season, and the numbers are off the charts. I was texting Alec Keyser from Voice of College Football last night, and we were just talking about the momentum we're seeing on all these channels, and it's really, really exciting. So keep listening, keep commenting. We react to your comments, as you all know. We love this little I can't say what I called you earlier in the chat, but we love reacting in the chat. So comment. I hope you guys have a wonderful morning. Good morning.
Hot